So as people are coming in here, who's part of product? Like who's in the product realm? 3 of you, 4, awesome, 5. By the way, feel free, 6, move on up front, I don't bite. You might get wet in this presentation, just a warning. "30 seconds, it's a countdown. I'll let you read about me. Quick vote, who thinks this is a picture of a serial killer? I've been told that. I don't think it's a picture of a serial killer. Anyway, so,
all right, we are ready to begin. Welcome back to Developer Week 2020. I'm going to introduce our next speaker. This is Mark Stephan, founder of Product Hire.
Product Hire, awesome.
All right, let's give him a round of applause.
So first, I just wanted to give a little context of why would you want to listen to me. So I have a couple startups, Product Hired. I'm a co-founder. My other co-founder is somewhere back there. I'm also a co-founder of Reactive, which is a fintech based out of Istanbul, Turkey. It's doing pretty well. I also have a day job. I work at Broadway Technology as a director of a knowledge program. I have 19 plus years of experience in product and also experience in both looking and hiring product talent. I am an organizer of Product Tank Austin and Product Hired Job Club Austin. We have study guides you can find and post jobs on producthire.com. Check it out. So, what we're going to hopefully cover, 25 minutes is a lot, so I'm going to race through this. We'll try to get Q&A at the end. Your career is like a product, so we'll talk about that. Before submitting for your next role, finding the right job and applying and interviewing. So, I think product people, and by the way, if you're an engineer, don't worry, just replace the word engineer with product, and it'll work for 80% of the scenarios. But a lot of people forget in product management is that we manage products. We prioritize, we make decisions, we think about the users, we think about the market, we think about the effort involved. And then somehow, when we get to our job, career, and things like that, we just like, oh, someone gave me an offer, let's take it, or is it enough money? Like, we don't manage ourselves like we manage our products. And what I'm here to tell you is, please do so. If you want to have a great career, start managing yourself like you're a product. So, other things. So the things you can do that is like, the companies are your clients. They're the market. What do they want? What are they looking for? What are the perceived problems that a company is trying to hire for? How do you meet that perceived problem? What is a SWOT analysis of yourself, right? Do you have product market fit, right? And prioritize your features and scale your features. So these are things that you should be doing as you grow your career and as the market changes, because the market does change. Another thing I see a problem in career management in any role is that people are reactive, they're not proactive managing their career. And so what I'm saying is you're the only one who cares about you. Let's just make that a point. You need to be your leader and to lead your career path, your roadmap. And so set a vision for yourself. Where do you want to be in 10 years, 3 years? Who could answer where they want to be in 10 years right now? Tell me. CPO. CPO, awesome. Who else? I know.
Retired.
Retired. Amen. So like you need to have a very clear, do you know how you're going to get there, right? Are you implementing that? And then where are you going to be in 3 years, right? Because you're not going to like magically become a CPO someday unless you're a founder like me and just magically make it happen. And so you need to figure out what that path is. Are you going to go management track? Do you enjoy have a talent for managing and growing people and getting them to produce a factor more? Or are you an individual contributor? These are questions that you need to know, or maybe you're an entrepreneur. So roadmap yourself to that vision. Grow your skills over time and make sure your talents, which are different than skills, make sure your talents are in alignment for where you want to go, which requires a heart-to-heart talk with yourself. I see a lot of people in product or any role, it doesn't need to be just product, that they work really hard on learning skills, but they don't have the talent. And it's always going to be work for them. They're going to be working to catch up with people who have talent and skills. So, I could have talked a long time on that. I only have 15 more minutes. And so pick the roles to get you there. Create beachheads. And so what I mean by that is not every role that is exciting is the right role to get you to where your goal is. And sometimes you need to take ground in different places. Like you want to take the hills, but you need to take the beach first. And so sometimes that requires humility. Sometimes that realize like I'm not able to get in this way, so let me find another way around through a different avenue. You need to play chess with your career, any career. And of course, one thing I really think is if you want to make a success in your career, you have to help people. You have to proactively, out of your heart, want to help people succeed in their career. If you help people succeed in their career, they're going to someday, who cares? Help people to succeed in their career, right? If they help you, great. If they don't help you, doesn't matter. But you know what? You're a great person, and I guarantee you someone's going to recognize that someday. Make visible impact. So this is something I've learned over the day, is that a tree that falls in the forest makes no noise, right? And so I can't tell you how many, I learned this early in my career, but for some of you, maybe you haven't learned it, maybe you need to. I did awesome work. No one appreciated it. Until one day, a client wrote an email, and all of a sudden I became the golden child. And I realized, I can do that again. I can just ask for the emails to come, right? And so the truth is, if people don't know the impact you're making, it doesn't matter the impact you're making. I mean, yeah, of course it matters, but for your career, it doesn't matter. So you need to make impact, definitely make impact, but also, demonstrate and let people know in your company that you're making impact. One of the ways is to get users or customers to rave about your impact, send those emails out. Obviously it's great when a customer is a success, but it's also great to let them know that you did it. It's not about being prideful, it's about like, hey, I worked hard, and you want people to know about that, otherwise they won't know. And then show those impact to those around you. So let's talk about actually applying for roles. So how do you prepare to work, right? So I'm going to talk about recommendations, building a network, getting mentorship, which I'm a huge believer in, a resume, and a product job club, or this is also can be a mastermind group. So let's talk about recommendations. How many of you have LinkedIn recommendations on your profile? How many of you have more than 10? How have you more than 30? I win. So one of the things, and when I say help people, and by the way, not every company reads this, right? Just so you let you know, right? Not every company cares. A lot of companies just assume this is all lies, right? But when you get 45 of them, they start to wonder, right? I am very generous with reviews. Not that I lie on them, but what I mean is like whenever we launch a product, I review my team and I write recommendations for them. If they're good, right? And I don't just like, amazing person would work with them again. I write 10 paragraphs sometimes. Yeah, I spend time. Actually, I'm a little behind. I have to write a few more. But please go to my LinkedIn profile and read the recommendations I wrote, because I put thought and care, and anybody who reads my recommendations will know I'm not lying, because no one could lie in so many details, or else I'm really good at it, right? I give scenarios and I give strengths, and I really log on my team. And by the way, that builds an amazing camaraderie on your team for your impact in your company and on your product. Like you become a commando unit when you write things like this. So of course you can ask others for recommendations, and if you give them, they'll give them to you. I actually tend to send out a summary like, hey, would you write a recommendation? Here are the highlights of what things you might want to highlight. You don't have to mention these, but here are some things that I thought I did impactful that you would know about. Oh, and here's a funny story that we did together. You might find it interesting. I make it so easy for them to write recommendations because I give them the highlights. I don't tell them what to write. I said these are just highlights you might notice. I send that to them, and you can read my recommendations. They're really awesome. And I really am thankful for these people because they're true, but I want them to be true, right? And then I get a lot of them. And the reason I get a lot of them is because, number one, I believe in giving a lot of them. But also, again, if somebody reads 2 or 3, But if you get 45, I think I have 45, 43, something like that, even if half of them lied, you still got 20 of them that are true, right? And so when I pass out my resume, I actually pick 5 to 10 of them, and I put it there with a link to go see the rest of them. This will really help you when it's on the line on a job. Resume. Okay, one thing I'm going to say is resumes are highly opinionated, and take everything with a grain of salt. You give resumes to 10 different people, you're going to get 10 very different opinions. So please don't pay anyone to do your resume. I'm sorry if I offended anyone who actually did that. Share PDFs with people, but send Word docs to ATS. Everybody know what an ATS is? Applicant tracking system. It's when a robot decides if you're qualified. So a lot of companies, when you fill out a form online, it's an ATS, send a Word doc. It's just easier for it to process. I always, cover letters, I always send a cover letter that is very tuned and very personal, and they know it was made for them. People are torn on cover letters. Frankly, if they don't care, it doesn't matter. If they do care, you better have had one. So I write cover letters. T-charts, Google T-charts, and submitting resumes. You're going to hear a lot of this in the T-chart right here. It's basically fill out all the keywords so that the ATS system really doesn't spit you out as not a match. And then check out JobScan. That's where you can take the job description and your resume and then run it through the system and see how much of a match. It should be above 60% match for that job. You're never going to get to 100%. Like between 60 and 80% is where you want to be. If you're beneath 60%, the ATS will say not a match. Highlights. So I always like to, I say this in my resume. I give metrics, very impact driven. My resume is all about impact. It's not about like, I did this. It's about impact. Like I made this revenue, I grew this percentage, I grew this, that's how you get it for product management. But just in case they're blind, right? I sometimes include this lovely page where I'd say like 8x, 7x, 3.5 million, 12x, right? And then that's a lovely story that I can then tell them in an interview. The goal of a resume is to get you the interview, right? And so I'm a believer of the one pager, but if I'm submitting to an ATS, I have a 5-pager because it has a lot more keywords. I throw in some recommendations just for the fun of it. Product Job Club. So this is something, I'm from Austin, Texas. We're starting to create mastermind groups around people looking for product jobs. And so this is working out really great. We had, last semester, we had 9 groups. I led one of them. And this semester we're doing another one. But basically people are looking for a job. They go through a book, it's called 50 Ways to Get a Job. It has nothing to do with products, it's just about getting a job. And it creates a conversation and a stepping off point for people to help one another. As a mastermind group, we believe that rising tides raise all boats. And so a lot of people got jobs by helping one another. Collaborate, help one another. This is great for your career. So let's move on that. Network. So every city is different. Bay is very different than Austin, Texas. But there are meetups, and you need a network. In fact, let me be very clear. Do not apply online. Always go through a referral. If you at all can, go through a referral. You are 100% more than, about 80, you'll get 80% response on referrals. You'll get 2 to 3% response on online applications. So referral. Only apply online if you have no other choice. But networking is also important to meet those referrals. So product camp meetups, product camp, women in product. Also FANG, if you want to ever go to a FANG company, get relationships at those before you ever want to apply. Like start meeting people and so on and so forth. There's virtual communities, PMHQ, Mind the Product, Slack, Looseland, LocusLine. There's a whole lot of line. There's a lot of places where you can build relationships and networks. Mentorship. Who here has a mentor? Oh, that's awesome. At least some of you do. I'm a strong believer in a mentor. If you want to grow in your career, you should have mastermind groups, people who are peers that you're working with and meeting with regularly. But you should also have mentors, people who are not your peer, they're above you, and you meet on a regular cadence, and you're somewhat accountable too. And so I'm a big believer in this. You should at least have a mentor. You should have them for a year, at least a year. You should meet monthly or 2 times a month or weekly, a frequent base, where you can talk about what you did at your job and the decisions you had to make, and then they can give you advice. And sometimes you listen to it, sometimes you don't. If you don't listen to it, you should tell them why you did it. And if you never listen to it, then why are they your mentor? But it's definitely a social contract. So listen and do, and have a good excuse if always ignore wasting time. So don't waste your time. Find out at the very beginning, what do they want to get out of it? Like, what does your mentor want to get out of it? Do they want money? Pay them, they're probably worth it. Do they want, they just want to help you? Then make sure that's clear. career. Find out what they want, and create a relationship in that way. So let's talk about actually applying to jobs. So finding a job, networking is best. I can't stress that. There's sites for product, there's product hired, there's jobs that mind the product. There's several job boards. There's not a lot of them in product. And then, of course, the big ones, Indeed, LinkedIn, which would, try to get a kitchen sink job. Then you have remote virtual vocations, remoteok.io. We work remotely. Those are if you're looking for remote roles. And but also another great way is get involved in hackathons. There happens to be one this weekend. Volunteer, speak, host, etc. That's a great way to find a job. Focus. So I've seen way too many people apply to 100 jobs. What would you do if they all reached out to you? I mean, focus. You cannot do 100 interviews. You need to really create beachheads. You need to, this is chess. You need to have relationships to get in these companies. It's about who you know. And you can only do that for 6 to 10 companies max. You can't do that for 100 companies. So think about where your dream job is, where you want to go. Start planning it before you need it. But even if you do need it now, applying, clicking apply is not going to get you that job. I'm just telling you. Okay. Applying. So again, use your network. I can't stress this. Talk to people. If you're looking for a job and your friends don't know, your colleagues don't know, hopefully in other companies, in your same company, don't let them know maybe, or pick that. But let people know, because they will probably want to help you. And if people let you know that they're looking for a job, help them. So again, referrals are always best, unless you can't get them because you suck. Use third-party recruiters. Let them work for you. Find out if they get paid more, if you get paid more. That's really nice, because they're going to be advocating for you. Sometimes they don't. And so just know what that relationship is between them and the other company. And apply on the website, the last resort. If it's an ATS, use a T-chart, and pray. Seriously, pray. It's less than 2% response if you're applying. Let's talk about interviews. So there are a lot of product management interview styles, and you need to know the interview styles that is for your company. And so there's the type that I'm just looking for a friend to help me in my job, right? Type of interview questions. I've had too many of those, unfortunately. Then there's behavioral questions, product design. You know these guys. Estimation, case. These are very typical product management interview questions. You need to know them and be able to answer them in your sleep. But you also need to know what company you're interviewing with, what their style is, and what they're looking for. So for example, you need to know the buzzwords, the methods, the words they use as a culture. You need to use those. Especially for the Onsite, create a dossier of the company. I always I have a thick dossier. I don't have it as a prop, but I open it up and I pull out notes and things for each interviewer, and they are always amazed because I have a little book about each company I interview, and it's all my notes and everything, and they're always amazed. Props. Take props to an interview. How would you design? They would say, name a physical product and how would you improve it? I just so happens to have this, right? And you introduce it and you show it and you talk about it. Or if it's a mobile app, have it on your phone and show it to them. Whiteboard mastery. I'm actually teaching a class on this next week. Know how to use the whiteboard. Do not be that crazy person who just writes everywhere and it's incohesive, right? Have a format and a template for each type of questions, and you write it and do it well and use the whiteboard. Again, know their style. If I could tell you one thing that would improve you and help you get a great job and move you in your career, do 100 mock interviews. 100, I'm not joking, 100. Because a lot of those would be people who don't know what they're talking about, but it's about, especially if you're interviewing in a FANG company, you need to do 100 mock interviews in order to have confidence when you're talking to people, so your brain isn't locked up at those tough questions, and when you leave the interview like, oh, now I know, right? That happens to everyone because they aren't used to interviewing. Interviewing is an art, so you gotta learn it. 100 mock interviews, talk to people, find them online, pay people. I would at least pay a few people who are excellent in measuring you as kind of like milestone checkpoints, but 100 mock interviews. When you go to an Onsite, 30, 60, 90-day plan. Actually create a plan of what I would do in my first 30, 60, 90 days, hand it to the interviewer, right? They're always impressed by that. And it's tailored to the company, not just a general one, but tailored to the company. So know thy company. So of course, Amazon, Google, Facebook, they all have interview styles. Your company has a style, probably. They probably ripped it off of someone. But find out. Glassdoor is a great place to look. Find people who work there, ask them. But you'll be able to find out what their style is and prepare for it, and again, understand the words and what they're looking for. And start, if you're looking for a FANG equivalent, you need at least 6 months in advance to start preparing for all of this. Okay, 5 minutes. So, interviewing is acting. Okay, so I went to a particular company that asked me how many fish are in the ocean. It was an estimation question. Do you think I would actually ever use that in my job? The answer is no, of course you know that. But the idea is they're trying to figure out how you think. And you're never going to have to think on your feet like that in any role. It's not, this doesn't happen, right? So the whole interview process is BS. It's trying to measure something in an unreal situation and trying to correlate it to a real situation. So I always say, interviewing is improv, and you need to be great at improv. You may be an amazing product manager, but you may be horrible at interviewing and not great at improv and interviewing, and you won't get the job. And I have seen cases where people have been great at improv and interviewing, and they weren't so great in product management. And so just know it's a different skill set. You need to practice for that skill set to grow your career, right? So act the part. No one can create strategy in 20 minutes. This doesn't happen. It's acting. User-driven, show empathy, empathy, empathy. I've actually created dramatic moments in my interviews. And they loved it, and it worked. And it was great. And then, of course, visualize, props, whiteboards. Do anything you can to visualize the situation. Engage in interview, you should already know this. But all interviews are secretly asking themselves, do I want to work with this person? That's what they're asking. You know, they may be reviewing on different criteria, but they're asking themselves, is this a person that I would trust or I would work with? And so you need to collaborate with them. You need to give your opinion. So in normal life as product managers, we don't try to bias the pool. We try to understand what people want, and then we give our opinion, our thoughts. Interviewing is the exact opposite. In interviewing, you need to give your opinion, then ask their opinion. Like, what do you think about that, right? Don't ever ask, do you think this is right? No, you say, I believe this is the right answer, what do you think? They're either gonna say yes or no. If they say yes, then they agree with you, and voila, you solved the problem. If they didn't agree with you, then it's like, okay, well, what part is clear? What would you like me to go back and review, right? So collaboration is key, and they would really enjoy that. Brainstorm together, they like that. And get them to agree with you. But you need to be the leader, otherwise they're going to call it hand-holding because they're hand-holding you instead of you hand-holding them and walking them through. Feel free to reach out to me. My email is there. I'm more than happy to have a video call with anyone here to talk about anything. I can just send you a Calendly link and we can set up the call. Questions? Yes?